In this video, I'm going to show and tell you the exact process I use to get in the best shape of my life and optimize my health and performance. If you don't know, Lewis, and I've been a personal trainer for over 10 years, working with thousands of clients, and I've worked with over 100 entrepreneurs, high performers, business owners, etc., etc. There's going to be no fancy editing in this video, no fancy jump cuts or videos or anything like that. Just going to be straightforward. I've got my trustworthy Ironman coffee mug here. If you didn't know, I completed an Ironman triathlon in 2021 with no prior experience. So it's just going to be a little chat today, as I said, with no edits. How do you transform your body health and performance, look great, feel great, while not spending hours in the gym, while not having to constantly follow strict diets, even if you're a busy professional, whether you run a business or you're just the everyday gym goer? You maybe not too sure what you need to do to actually get in the best shape of your life. Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. And I can say that I have been very low body fat in the last few years, maybe not quite at the minute. I'm not in the best shape ever. I'm going on a bulk, as they say. But I have been very low body fat, and I've done all this naturally. If I've used steroids, I need to get my money back, because that's not me. I've never used steroids. I just obviously want to put that one pushed to the side. It's not me. So it's one of those where I can almost guarantee you've watched multiple videos on YouTube and you're wanting to see abs, maybe you're going on holiday, maybe you are running a business and you just want to get in really good shape or whatever it may be, and you're not too sure how to do it. You're struggling with spending hours in the gym, following different programs. You get a little bit of results, but you lack that structure, you lack that maybe a bit of accountability, and you lack that insight, that key little bit of knowledge to actually get in the best shape of your life. Well, as I said, I've worked with thousands of clients over 10 years, and some of them include business owners. For example, I had one client who I've trained for around 5 years. I've recently just stopped training him because I was training him at his house in person. It wasn't really working for me anymore. But he had over 100 employees. He's running a multi-million pound, should I say, business. And he was training just 3 times per week with me, 45-minute sessions, give or take. And he dropped weight, got in the best shape of his life, felt great, optimized his sleep. And he did that without spending hours in the gym, without following these strict diets. And he didn't actually go online and really spend hours researching it either. I just told him exactly what he needed to do for following my simple 4-step process, which I'm going to tell you in a second. But I'm going to have a drink of coffee first, because otherwise it's going to go cold. It is absolutely massive, this, by the way. Anyway, that's beside the point. So that's one person who's obviously very busy and he's able to do it. And by the way, if you don't feel like I'm telling the truth here, then all you need to do is go to my website, linked in the description. I've got all the testimonials on there, so you can actually see them on my website, so I can prove that I'm not lying. And I've had other clients who, for example, one client who I've worked with for, going on 9 years now. And he runs a local business. He's got 10 employees, and he only trains me 3 times a week for 40-minute sessions. And he's always late to the sessions as well. But he has been able to train just 3 times per week. If he's lucky, really, sometimes only 2 times per week. He's really busy. He starts work at 7 a.m., no word of a lie, and he finishes work at like 11 o'clock, close to midnight. He works 16-hour days every single day, Monday to Sunday. And he's able to get in the best shape of his life. He's able to gain strength, and he's able to, not feel like he's spending hours in the gym, having to do loads of research, following a strict diet. He's able to do this while running that business. So that's 2 clients I've worked with. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all my client base, otherwise we'd be here for a long time. But myself, obviously, I'm slightly biased. I'm a personal trainer, so I've been able to do it. So what you might be asking, what is this simple 4-step system that I'm referring to? Well, it all revolves around, 4 different things, funny enough. 1 is trainer, 2 is nutrition, 3 is recovery, which includes sleep, and 4 is longevity, otherwise known as maintenance as well. So let's attack training. What's the first step? Pillar, training. As I keep referring to, and you might have heard me sort of link to it a few times there when I was referring to my testimonials, you do not need to spend hours in the gym 6 days per week to get in amazing shape. You do not need to do it. I'm someone who likes going to the gym, so I will spend more than 3 days in the gym. But for most people, if you're an accountant or you're running a business or you are working at McDonald's, you do not need to spend hours in the gym. So training. What I say to all my clients who are struggling to go to the gym and actually get in shape, first off, we need to address, one, what you are looking to achieve. And if that's just to get in great shape, then what process do you need to follow? Well, all you need to do is spend 30 to 45 minutes in the gym 3 times per week following a general resistance training program with progressive overload, which means that you know exactly what you are doing in each session in regards to exercise selection, and you are progressing each week. So one of my clients, when he first came to me, he said that he didn't have time to train. He came to me and said, Lewis, look, I want to get in the best shape of my life, but I'm going to see you once or twice per week, and I'm going to do my own thing in my own time. But I've tried going to the gym 4, 5, 6 times per week. I spend an hour in there. I get bored after about 45 minutes, and I get tired as well. And then I get back to running the business, and I just don't have the energy anymore. I've spent so much energy in the gym that I just have none left for running my business. And he thought that was the only way that he was able to drop body fat, get in great shape, optimize his health, and gain energy, feel good about himself. And he did this because that's what he thought was right. That's what everyone else was doing. That's what everyone online. I'm pointing over here because this is where my computer is. This is reference to online. And this meant that he was drained. He spent hours in the gym. He didn't have much energy to run the business anymore. And he didn't look great. Yes, he gained a little bit of muscle and a little bit of weight, but it was inconsistent. Once he went on holiday or he had a lot of networking or travel arrangements with work, he wasn't able to do it. It wasn't sustainable. He wasn't able to adhere to this routine anymore. It made him feel quite frustrated, quite annoyed, because he wasn't too sure how to optimize it so that he wasn't spending hours in the gym. He wasn't following strict diets. It wasn't at the detriment to his business, wasn't at the detriment to his family life, wasn't at the detriment to his overall well-being. He wanted to get in great shape, feel great, have more energy, sleep at least 7 hours per night consistently, and not be a burden on his life. What I said to him is, right, stop doing that. Ultimately, what I did is I implemented a system in regards to his training of 3 times per week. One of them was with me. That was more just to check his form, make sure he's doing everything correctly. You don't need to do this, obviously. But 3 times per week, I set a training program. Week 1 was to test his strength and his general fitness level. I needed to set a baseline. So we set a baseline in terms of I needed to see where he was at. So we did that. And then after I knew where his strength is at and I knew where his fitness levels were at, that's where I planned a 12-week or 11. Week 1 was the test. So 12 weeks in total training program, which was 3 sessions a week, 45 minutes per week, resistance training, dumbbells only, no equipment. That's it. So you're looking at what? And now 90 to 100 minutes per week in the gym. That's it. And the thing is, after 3 months, he actually did build a home gym, so he didn't even need to go to the gym. He just did it all from home because they were all just dumbbell and bench based. He didn't have to use machines. He didn't have to feel like he had all this expensive equipment to buy for his home gym. And he just didn't need to travel to the gym either, so he saved all that time as well. I'm going to sip a coffee. After 12 weeks, from optimizing his training, he could not believe that he was gaining strength and seeing gains with just an hour and a half in the gym per week. But the only reason he was able to do that is because I structured a program around him and around his life so that it worked with that. So for him, for example, we got it in early morning, 6:30 in the morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Didn't need to go to the gym Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday or Sunday. That worked for him. Whereas he was trying to go to the gym after work originally, which was like 6, 7 o'clock, and it wasn't working. He was knackered by that point. He'd had a full day of running the business, and he didn't have any energy anymore to actually put in to the gym. So we switched it on its head, started training in the morning, and I much prefer training in the morning as well. I do the exact same thing. But we formulated a training routine which worked for him, so that he gained strength, had more energy, and actually seen some results for once. And I made him track all his lifts as well. This isn't something which takes too much time. I formulated it for him, so he knew exactly what exercises to do with video demonstrations, etc., in his own time. And I got him to track his lifts. So that by the end of 3 months, 12 weeks, we did that retest week again. And guess what? He gained strength. He actually lost some body fat, but I'll delve into that more when we speak about the nutrition. But the main thing is he gained strength and he didn't feel like he was spending hours in the gym. And he actually started to look great as well. For the first time, you could actually see some definition in his arms. And again, I'm looking over here because I can see myself recording this video. And he was able to actually see for the first time outline of his abs. And he thought that he had to spend 6 hours, like 6 times per week, 6 hours in the gym per week, 1-hour sessions, to even make any type of progress, which simply is just not true. So that was the first pillar, training. We optimized his training around his busy life. Number 2, nutrition. As we all know, there's a lot of information out there. He thought that he had to eat very strict. He went from one extreme to the other. So when he first came to me, again, he told me about his training and the nutritional side of things. I said, right, for 1 week, I wanted you to track on MyFitnessPal. He didn't like tracking, but I told him to do it just because we needed to understand where he was at, what he'd been doing in the past, and what his nutritional protocol was actually like currently. So I got him to track. And what we found was that he was just far too extreme. He wouldn't eat on the morning at all. And then it got to lunchtime and he might have a sandwich. He might go to the shop around the corner from his business and get a sandwich from M&S, for example. A couple of quid, maybe 500-600 calories, chicken and salad sandwich because he thought that was healthy. And that made him feel really low on energy. So on the morning, he was okay up until 10, 11 o'clock. He felt really hungry, so he'd go and get a sandwich and might get maybe a banana or something as well. And that might pass him by in terms of it'd help with his energy for a few hours. But then he'd have nothing else in between this. And you can probably realise he didn't have much protein here. And it wasn't the best distribution of macronutrients either. But anyway, this is what he was doing. And then it got to around 7 o'clock in the evening when he'd get back from work, pick the kids up, etc. And then he was starving. He put all his effort into run the business through the day. Then he'd go to the gym in the evening, as I said. And then he was starving by this point. And then he'd get home and then he loved nuts. So he'd always have a massive handful of salted peanuts, and then he'd have whatever his partner had cooked in, which might be quite a big meal, cooked in oil, etc. And then he'd have a snack after that as well. So you're probably looking at around 2,000 calories he was eating there, which is okay. It's okay. Not the best distribution of macronutrients, but it's okay. But his energy levels were not great throughout the day. He was so sporadic with his eating and having 2 meals per day, which were one quite low at lunch and then one massive one in the evening with some nuts just before. And he felt knackered during his gym sessions as well because he wasn't having a very good lunch. And then on the weekends, he wouldn't go to the gym. He obviously wasn't at work, so he just splurged. He'd have takeaways. He thought that he could eat almost anything because he'd been good throughout the week, which meant that he was completely over-consuming on the weekends, which meant his overall weekly calorie consumption, should I say, was massive. He wasn't in a deficit anymore, so that on Monday he felt sluggish. So it wasn't working clearly. He didn't actually understand this. He thought that he was eating well, like most people do. So what we did, got him to track for a week, as I just said there, and then after that, I implemented a nutritional protocol which worked specifically for him. So we got him to track his calories for a few weeks. I know you might be watching this thinking, I don't like tracking calories, it's tedious. Even if you're not going to do it long term, do it for a few weeks. So we know, you know exactly what you need to do in terms of how many calories you're consuming, and you're accurate with it. And this is what we did with him. So I got him to eat a small breakfast on the morning. Protein and fat, no carbs. This was usually a scrambled egg or an omelette. You take this to work. And then at lunchtime, we'd have a high protein, low carb lunch. This meant that he wasn't overindulging on carbs at like 12, 1, 2 o'clock midday. Because as we know, if we have too heavy of a carb meal during the day, it makes you feel a little bit sluggish in the afternoon. So high protein, high fat lunch, as well as the breakfast. And then just before dinner, I made sure that he wasn't going to snack on those nuts. Sorry, I didn't say this as well. Because we switched his training to the morning, he'd have that breakfast after training. He wouldn't have anything before training. He didn't need to. It was too early. It was 6:30 in the morning. Then the dinner, I made sure, again, it was high protein, high fat, but moderate carb this time. And I made sure he tracked everything. And we had him on around 2,100 to 2,200 calories per day. His goal, as I said at the start, was to drop body fat, get in the best shape of his life, optimize his health, optimize his performance, and just feel good, have more energy, and have that longevity. So that was what we did with his training, his nutrition, and he felt great because of this. He started to actually not feel as if he was spiking with his energy because of the nutritional protocol he did have. And we made sure that it was tracked every single week. So we knew exactly what was working and what wasn't working. So that was the nutritional side of things. Third one on the pillar, as I mentioned, the first two have been trained in nutrition. Third one was recovery. Well, what do we know about a lot of high performers or business owners? The sleep isn't great. They're constantly thinking about work. They're constantly thinking about the next step. They're constantly thinking about maybe employees. They're constantly thinking about how the business is going to grow. This was at the detriment to his health. And because of that, it was at the detriment of his sleep. So he'd get to sort of 10, 11 o'clock at night. He was still on emails. And again, I'm referencing this because my computer's here. He was on emails. He was on his phone, constantly texting, replying back to emails on there as well. And it got to like midnight, and he wasn't wound down at all. He wasn't relaxed. He wasn't in a relaxed state, which meant he was slightly stressed, and he couldn't get to sleep. And again, this made him feel frustrated. He'd get up in the next day early for work, 6, 7 o'clock, only having around 6 hours sleep. And that was broken sleep as well. And it took him a long time to sleep. So because of this, he started to feel, again, contributed to the tiredness, fatigue. He had brain frogs. He had a lot of brain fog, should I say, throughout the day. What did we do? You might be thinking, well, I got him to track his sleep. We got a Whoop band. I'm saying this is Whoop. This isn't Whoop. This is actually Garmin. You can do it on any of the watch trackers, but Whoop's particularly good. We got him to track his sleep on there. And then after that, I had a look at his metrics. We found that, well, we thought he was sleeping 6 hours per night. Well, 6 hours isn't 6 hours of good quality sleep. He was actually only sleeping, good quality I'm referring to, around 4 hours. 4 hours of good quality sleep per night, 5 days per week. If the general guideline is 7 to 8 hours, let's use 8 hours, so that's 4 hours per night of good quality sleep he was not getting. So he was getting 4 good ones and missing out on 4 if he was aiming for 8. Times by 5, because that's obviously how many days per week he was working, that's 20 hours per week he was missing out on good quality sleep. Yes, he'd catch up on it on the weekend, but that's not ideal. So after we started tracking his sleep, I started to implement an evening and nighttime routine. We made sure we had his dinner at least 3 hours before going to bed. But for example, if we wanted him in bed by 10 o'clock, we had his meal no later than 7 o'clock. Then by 8 o'clock, no liquids. So made sure he was hydrating throughout the day, of course. And then once it got to around 7, half 7, 8 o'clock, we made sure he wasn't drinking anymore, so that he wasn't needing to go to the toilet throughout the night, disrupting his sleep, etc., etc. And then we made sure that he didn't have any bright lights in his room. So we made sure that he had dim lights from around 9 o'clock once he was in bed. And then we implemented, instead of getting his phone out, looking at emails, etc., etc., 9 o'clock, no more emails. And he was a bit of a reader as well. I enjoy my reading, so we made sure it was fictional. He did enjoy reading, so maybe if you're someone who doesn't like reading at all, I'd recommend trying it because it really does help. One, just take it away from your day-to-day life, but also it helps you dull down a little bit before trying to go to sleep, so your mind isn't racing at all. I found that really helps for me. And again, he liked reading anyway, so we implemented fictional books, which he was reading before bed. So just to summarise there, no eating after 7 o'clock, no more drinking after 8 o'clock. We implemented the dull lights, made sure there's no bright lights in his room a couple of hours before bed. No more water, as I said before, no more drinking. And then implemented reading of fictional books just before bed so he could wind down. This improved his sleep score massively. So he went, after 12 weeks, from, as I said, 4 good quality hours per night to averaging 7 minimum. Some nights were even 8. This is on work days, not just on weekends. This is on work days. this was massive, absolutely massive for him. So not only had we optimized his training and nutrition, we optimized his sleep as well. I arguably say this is one of the biggest game changers, because I think we know we need to sleep well. We know we need 7 to 8 hours, but we don't actually understand how crucial it is, especially for high performers. If you're someone who's just a busy professional, you've got work, you're balancing family life, social life, etc., etc. He was able, I'm going to have a drink. He was able to increase it from 4 hours to 7 hours, and he felt great. He had no more brain fogs, not frogs, and he actually had energy throughout the day because he was sleeping every night really well, and he wasn't feeling sluggish. He didn't feel like he needed to drink loads of coffees every single day. Before, by the way, I didn't say this, but he was drinking around 3 to 5 coffees every single day, spread throughout the day, because he had these spikes of energy and caffeine consumption. As we all know, it's not ideal. So we didn't need to rely on those anymore. We did utilize caffeine, maybe once or twice per day before training in the morning, and maybe once at lunchtime if he needed to. So that was the third pillar anyway. That was the recovery/sleep. So we've covered training, nutrition, recovery/sleep, which is what? Fourth one, longevity and maintenance. So longevity and maintenance is almost more of a holistic approach in terms of it combines all three. Going back to what he was doing before, as I mentioned, he was someone who was extreme with his nutrition, following a training program which he didn't really enjoy, didn't really understand why he was doing it, and he was spending hours in the gym. And his sleep wasn't ideal. He didn't optimize his sleep very well. So the fourth one is longevity. As I said, this is more of a holistic side of things where we try and cohesively combine everything so that everything he was doing was going to have longevity in mind. So because we optimized his training, nutrition, and sleep, that longevity was there. Whereas if we'd only optimized one or two, so for example, if we'd optimized his training and his sleep but not his nutrition, that wouldn't link with the longevity aspect, because he wouldn't be able to continue with an extreme diet. And if he'd optimized his nutrition and his sleep but hadn't optimized his training, he was still spending hours in the gym, that wouldn't also have that longevity in mind. So the fourth pillar is almost a subsequence, if that's the right term, of the previous three. Once we've covered all of the previous three, that means the longevity is there, that sustainability is there, that adherence is there, because they're all seamlessly fitting in to his life, and it all works. He doesn't feel like it's a chore to train or eat well or optimize his sleep. If he was saying to me, my client this is, look, I just can't do this nutrition or training and sleep routine anymore. It's too tough. It's taken up too much time, too much mental bandwidth. That's when I'd need to change it, and it wouldn't have that longevity in mind. But he was doing all these and felt great doing them. So by the end, I'm saying by the end, 3 months, and again, this was going on for months after this, years after this, but this is what we did first through. He had that longevity in mind. He dropped weight, gained strength, all while not spending hours in the gym, not following any extreme diets, not feeling like it was something which was a chore, and he felt great doing it. And I've used an example of my client, but this is what you can do as well. Obviously, you've got to tailor it to your own lifestyle a little bit, and I do the same thing with my own personal circumstance. Obviously, I'm a personal trainer, so I can spend a bit more hours in the gym, and this is something which anyone can follow. If you've listened to and watched this 24-minute video now, there is absolutely no reason as to why you shouldn't be able to get in the best shape of your life, optimize your health and performance, feel great, and have that longevity in mind. You've got absolutely no excuse. Using my client example there, he was very busy, and I'm sure you are, everyone's busy, but follow this simple process and you will get the results that you want. Now, I do have coaching, and I do have a program linked in the description. If you don't want to join, no problem at all. This is completely free advice. But obviously the programs and coaching aren't, and I've trained a lot of clients over the years. If you want to join, you can. You might not be the best fit. I don't even know if I want to work with you yet. I don't know your current situation. If you want to check them out, feel free to do so in the description. And I also have a completely free body health and performance quiz. So you can identify the exact problem which is stopping you from transforming your body health and performance. It's a quick 2-minute quiz you can follow and go through. It's simple yes or no questions. It'll literally take you 2 or 3 minutes, and it'll give you a thorough breakdown. I highly recommend doing that. But hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.